last 2 years have reinforced more than ever the primal need to be healthy, reminding us of our human fragility and elevating the importance of our healthcare providers and those who support the clinicians on the front lines. Welcome to the Big Move Podcast. I'm Tony Martinez. This is the City of Louisville's podcast. And today, we're going to introduce you to a North Texas company that is improving the lives of all of us here in North Texas. Cardinal Health is a distributor of pharmaceuticals, a global manufacturer and distributor of medical and laboratory products, and a provider of performance and data solutions for healthcare facilities. With 50 years in business, operations in more than 40 countries, and approximately 48,000 employees globally, Cardinal Health is essential to healthcare. The company's mission statement is to deliver products and solutions to improve the lives of people every day. And with us now to discuss Cardinal Health here in Dallas-Fort Worth is Jason Monteiro. He is the Director of Clinical Operations here in Dallas-Fort Worth and Louisville. Jason, welcome to the Big Move. Good to have you with us.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
I want you to tell our viewers, tell us a little bit about Cardinal Health. You said you have 700 basically employees here in Louisville. That's a large workforce. What is it that you do?
Sure. We are fortunate enough where we help people work through the challenging and complex insurance coverage and healthcare maze. So we work very closely with large drug manufacturers and small ones as well. And we help with access to therapy for patients. And in some cases, those patients could be your grandparents, could be your child, could be you, right? Mm-hmm. And we really pride ourselves in helping people get access to those therapies, some of which are thousands, tens of thousands of dollars per month in some cases. So that can be overwhelming. So we work very closely to help people get access to that to help benefit their quality of life.
I read somewhere that another way to describe it is that you are the business behind healthcare, another way to think about it, in an effort to help reduce the cost and the incredible costs of healthcare and keep healthcare affordable for all of us here in North Texas. That's a big challenge, isn't it, right now?
It is a big challenge and something that we work and fight for every single day as a company, right? As part of our culture, which is how can we help patients, right? And that's what drives us every day. And the most rewarding part of my role is that you can go home at the end of the day and say, I directly had the opportunity to impact somebody's life for the better from what I did today. And there are going to be some days that are more successful than others, but it goes back to that slogan of, you don't have to win the week. You don't have to win all 7 days. We just got to make sure we win 4 of them and come out with that winning record. And that's really where we pride ourselves to say, ultimately, we have patients at the end of this who are dependent on us to help them have access to something that can be life-changing.
Culture, you talk about your culture. Culture is so important to every company that you talk with, and the effort of trying to get people who align with your culture at Cardinal Health. How do you do that?
Yeah, we take great pride in it, and it's really associated with, we want to know who you are as a person first. We believe in hire the right person and we can teach the job, right? So we want to find those things, those intangibles. Do you have the work ethic, the desire, the genuine care for people, empathy, right? Do you have that work ethic? To a lot of us at Cardinal Health, we feel as though those things are really hard to coach and put into somebody. So we really look at finding the person and that fit, and we take great pride in our diversity. You mentioned the culture. A lot of people say, "Hey, Cardinal Health has a great, diversity and inclusion program," and I quickly stop them, not to be rude, but I said, "No, we have an amazing diversity and inclusive culture, right?" And to me, it's a big difference because we live those values. We live that value every single day. And it's something that we are incredibly proud of.
We hear about diversity in the news every day, about the importance of this effort to try to bring people from different backgrounds, different social, religious backgrounds together to create a company where that culture helps a lot more people. Talk about how you do that in your company. How do you create and emphasize this issue of diversity?
Yeah, we love it. It's so much fun because we have days that we dedicate to different cultures, to, we have a lot of programs, and we will go out to some of our different programs and say, hey, we want you to educate the masses, right? Pick something that you're most passionate about regarding your culture, and we will set up, we've had lunches, we have had conferences, we have had Zoom conferences in the day and age we are now with remote workforce, of having people share what do holidays look like in their countries, what's the attire that people take great pride in, and they show it. And what's really fascinating about it is everybody who's watching it is learning so much, and we're all tied into it, and you can see the passion and how happy people are and the pride they take in sharing that, and more importantly, that they know people want to learn it, right? It's such a wonderful feeling to know that we have so many people who want it, and we have people who are thankful that they have that crowd to go interact with.
And you talk about people, your company has been awarded for its effort in the way you bring women into the company and give them true opportunity in management roles all the way throughout the company. Talk to me about that award you had received recently and what it means for you.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. And I often say, and several leaders within Cardinal, we say, nobody gets anything, you earn it. And we believe that in every aspect of what we do. And looking at, promotions, looking at whether it be, anything within the pay structure, anything within the organizational development structure, looking at it holistically and saying, whether you are a man, whether you are a woman, regardless of race, creed, color, religion, none of that matters. It's about going back to what we said initially, is find the right person.
Right.
And there are studies out there, and I recently read one that talked about the more diverse a culture you have, especially at the leadership levels, it's amazing how much more successful those companies are. Right. So it goes back to that culture of not only talking the talk, but walking the walk.
Well, you did a tremendous job, and I think we'd also need to address the 800-pound gorilla in our world today, and of course that's COVID-19. And if you're involved in healthcare, if you understand what's happening on the front lines of healthcare, you have to take a moment to sit back and really acknowledge and honor those healthcare providers, the clinicians on the front lines, and those of you who are working to support those clinicians on the front lines for what they do. Let's take a look at this story so you can see briefly how important it is to acknowledge and remember how important these people have been in our lives the last 16 months.
In my career, this is the first time I've ever seen this unmeasurable fear among our team members.
But in COVID-19, you have to kind of put self to the side.
The emotional and physical exhaustion of treating COVID-19's victims is felt most acutely by the heroic clinicians putting their own lives at risk. But all of us, including those of you participating here today, are affected, working in unusual circumstances under stress and fear. Today we meet together for the first time since the crisis began in support of your mission to better meet the needs and expectations of your clients. But another outcome is possible, providing actionable recommendations to re-energize this journey in your chosen profession.
I think the solution is in the day-to-day, at the level of the group, and looking in to see what those people need to help rejuvenate them. And that's priceless, right? Maybe it's like the fountain of youth. That you're able to kind of go back to that moment and just to say, why am I here?
Why am I here? That's such an important thing to think about for your employees, for your prospective employees, about understanding that they're joining this company. It has meaning, it has purpose, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. And when you talk about the frontline workers and just healthcare in general, and something that we've gone through over the last 16 months and who knows how much longer, I think it's that mindset when what is courage and heroes and you hear those terms used a lot. And for me, right, and from a cardinal perspective, we really look at it and we say, courage, right? It's doing something you know is probably dangerous, right, or potentially dangerous, and doing it anyway. And when I think about our frontline healthcare workers, and whether they were in the hospitals, in the clinics, or the people behind the scenes who are ensuring that we had all of the supplies, right? Things that we do at Cardinal, whether that be, providing those supplies or again, going back to access to therapy, making sure we can dispense and get things where they need to be so that patients are comfortable leaving their home, right? When there's anxiety, or people in general are okay getting out knowing I've got to go get this and they're going to make it really easy for me, and hoping to put away some of those fears and those anxieties that people have. That's critically important to us because we're husbands, we're wives, we're dads, right? We have significant others, so we try to put ourselves in the shoes of others, and we think that gives us the right perspective when we walk in the door every day.
The right perspective is so important, especially when you think about the number of people who have now changed the way they work. COVID-19 has affected all of us. How has it affected Cardinal Health, especially your workforce?
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. It was kind of a whirlwind there. 16 months ago, everything kind of hit, and there was a lot of uncertainty. And we were able to get, when you have 600 or 700 people at a location like we had, to have multiple facilities, and within 2 weeks to get 90% of your workforce home. 90%.
Wow.
Working remotely. And more importantly, not just working remotely, but supporting patients, supporting healthcare providers, making a positive difference in the lives of others, right? It was one of those things you don't know. You don't know how it's going to go until you're thrust into it. And we really proved our ability to take something that, we'd consider it. We had some smaller remote type programs that we did for people to work from home, but to go to 90% and to have success and to get feedback, to receive feedback from, manufacturers and say, my gosh, we had no idea if we were going to be able to reach our patients, and you helped alleviate that. What better feeling is there at the end of the day?
Yeah, and before they can create those good feelings, they have to feel good themselves about what they're doing in their jobs. You were talking to me earlier about how you do have these ways of meeting with your own staff, employees, to give them that forum to be able to talk about what they're feeling as we've gone through this COVID-19. Talk about those sessions and what that does for your employees.
Yeah, as leaders, that was our biggest fear of how do we stay connected to our number one resource, our people, right? How do we continue to coach, teach, mentor, professionally develop, help them get to where they would like to be in the future? And not only that, how do we continue to build that rapport and that trust in those relationships where you could walk by their desk before and check on them and say, hey, how's your daughter doing? How's your son doing? How's your nephew doing? And one of the things with all of the societal matters that came to the forefront over the last year, we sat down and made a conscious decision to say that we are going to host community conversations. And what those were conversations where leaders, senior leaders, stepped up and said, we're just going to talk about life. And whether those were how to talk to your children about racism, right? That's a topic that we, I had the opportunity to facilitate and co-lead a couple of those sessions, and they were so impactful. And to hear people, we're not talking about work. We're going to talk about life because we're all going through this together. Right. Here's how I talk to my children about it. Is that right? Is it wrong? How do you do it? Has it been successful? What books are out there? Because all of us who may have children, they see the news and they have those questions. So not only the coach, teach, mentor, the formal leadership side of a role, but letting people know, that we're all vulnerable. And in that Cardinal, I think we really look at and say, our people need to know us as people first. Whatever our title is, that's secondary, right? But they need to know us as people first. And it's hard sometimes to show those vulnerabilities because you're supposed to be the leader. And to have people come in and have those types of conversations and say, I don't know the answer to this, right? What was hugely impactful, and the feedback from that has been great.
Oh, I'm sure it has been. We have so many people who probably would love to work, professionals and everyday workers who would love to find companies like this who think like Cardinal Health does. Where would those people go? Well, let me just start by saying,
Sure.
What kind of jobs might you have available now for people, and where would they go to access those?
Yes, absolutely. If you go to cardinalhealth.com or cardinalhealth.com jobs, you can go and find those opportunities within our Louisville, greater DFW area. Our roles, can range from pharmacists to pharmacy techs to intake coordinators who are doing a lot of the administrative portion, receiving patient information, making sure it gets into the system appropriately, to case managers who are out there that are calling and interacting with patients and healthcare providers and insurance providers, making sure we have the appropriate coverage, educating patients on, okay, if you don't have coverage, here are other programs that are available to you. So we have a wide spectrum of opportunities, and that's just to name a few. We have several more. We have administrative support positions. We have warehouse positions. So a lot of times people may think, Cardinal Health, I've never been in healthcare. That's okay. I go back to, we hire people. We hire people first, and then we try to make sure, let's find the role that best suits them and try to make that match.
You are trying to improve the lives of people here in North Texas. So it's a great ambition to have. Jason, thank you so much. Is there anything that I didn't ask you that you wanted to mention?
I thank you for that last comment of us as Cardinal Health, trying to make a difference in the lives of people here in the greater DFW area. And my take is it's the least that we can do. I can speak personally of what this community and area has done for me, right? From a diversity perspective and being able to, to appreciate that. And, the best way to give back to a community, in my opinion, is, let's work together. Let's get involved in community events. Cardinal Health loves to be out there, and people will see the shirts and the hats because it's important to us. Again, not because we just want to go market Cardinal. No, it's because the people live it and truly believe in it.
Because it matters.
Absolutely, it does matter.
Jason, thank you very much for being with us. Great to have you with us. You've been listening to the Big Move podcast. Check out Cardinal Health. I think you're going to like what you find. I'm Tony Martinez, and we'll see you next time on Big Move.